Good evening and welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Wednesday, April 6th, 2016. I'm Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Officials from the Federal Ministry of International Trade, Industry, Commerce and Consumer Affairs visited Nevis yesterday, Tuesday, April 5th, to hold discussions with and make presentations to the Nevis Island Administration's Department of Trade and Consumer Affairs. According to Colin Dorr, Permanent Secretary in the NIA's Ministry of Finance, the purpose of the meeting was to develop a good working relationship between the two entities.
Today we focus on a number of issues, especially the issue of CARICOM free movement, the developing of the CARICOM skill certificate and how do we apply for it, and the implication for individual and also the economy on a wider scale. We also look at the issue of the Bureau of Standard as it relates to the production of items for local consumption, because we believe that we are at the point where we are seeing an increase in the number of items being produced for consumption, whether it's dry goods or drinks in the various forms, wine, alcohol, and so on. And we believe that it is very important that we are able to bring to the attention of the consumer who are purchasing what are the ingredients in these items. And so going forward, we expect to put a lot of effort on that aspect.
The discussions also focused on ongoing matters with respect to trade, consumer affairs protection, standards, and small business development.
We also look at the area of trade generally, the issue of labeling of products, because we believe that we are now seeing an influx of product with various languages. The Spanish, we have the Chinese writing, and so we are trying to see how we can bring to you, the customers, the consumers, the best way to deal with these items which are not quoted in our native language of English. Over the next 2 weeks or the next month, we expect to take this discussion into the community level and to discuss with the business persons from the various groups, the trade and consumer affairs, the business community, because we need to sensitize you, the business owners, as well, of the need to respond to the requirements of the Trade and Consumer Affairs Department, so that in the end we can produce an item to the public which is consumable and the public feel confident that they can consume these items without any risk or harm attached to them.
Dora says the meeting was fruitful and forms part of ongoing discussions at the government level and the wider public sector over the next few months. Minister of Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Mark Brantley, has urged all to use Diplomatic Week as an opportunity to build capacity and strengthen networks. Diplomatic Week 2016 was officially launched with an opening ceremony yesterday, Tuesday, April 5th, at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort under the theme Forging New Partnerships and Strengthening Networks for Sustainable Growth and Economic Development. The Foreign Affairs Minister welcomed all diplomats, government officials and especially invited guests to the momentous occasion and said the week boasts great benefits, adding that he is glad to have been afforded the privilege of taking the baton to lead this year's celebrations. Minister Brantley especially welcomed members of the St. Kitts and Nevis Diplomatic and Consular Corps and reflected on their work in the Federation. He said he is delighted to have them home at this time when they can get first-hand knowledge of the many developments that are happening in the country. Activities for Diplomatic Week include a church service, a symposium, and a tour and dinner at the St. Kitts Eco Park. Meantime, activities for Diplomatic Week continued on Nevis today with a tour of the island's cultural and historical sites. The St. Christopher and Nevis Diplomatic Corps visited the Museum of Nevis History, the therapeutic hot springs at Bath Stream, and were taken on tours of the botanical gardens where they were entertained by masquerades in the Vine Garden. There, they were welcomed by Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Vance Amory.
I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Nevis officially. We value the work which you do as diplomats for your country and representatives of our country. And I believe that all of you as representatives of your country in this very important role of performing diplomatic services on behalf of your people, that you have an increasingly important role to play, especially as we see the trend in the world and the tensions which are developing here in the Middle East and elsewhere. Welcome to Nevis. Welcome to the smaller part of the Federation. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
As Minister of Foreign Affairs, I clearly also have responsibility for tourism on the island of Nevis, and so I'm delighted to bring over today to Nevis the entire group of diplomats and their spouses. All the delegations are in Nevis today. We're at the Botanical Gardens now. We're going to do a beautiful tour of the island. They're going to have lunch at a beautiful place, drinks and various things on the island. The idea is to showcase both islands, St. Kitts and Nevis. Tomorrow they do the similar thing in St. Kitts, but today is Nevis's turn. There are two islands, as we say, one paradise. The idea is to expose them to all that the country has to offer. And so far the feedback has been tremendous. People do seem to be enjoying themselves. I want to say a special appreciation to the Honourable Van Seymour, the Premier, who's hosting us today and having us over here on the island. And of course, I'm from Nevis as Minister of Foreign Affairs. Nevis had to be part of the equation. So I'm very, very happy that they're here. And so far, so good. It appears that things are going wonderfully. And I'm hopeful that it will continue in that vein.
At the Four Seasons Resort, the diplomats were treated to lunch and an art and craft display featuring work by Vaughn Anslin, Marvin Chapman, Shanita James, Chantal Brennan-Martin and Deborah Tyrrell. Later in the afternoon, the group toured the Golden Rock Inn, where they were also treated to local fruit drinks. Still to come.
Last year we introduced Community Development Month for the first time, and so this year will be the second time around, and it will be just as exciting as last year.
The details after this break.
The second Nevis Blues Festival runs April 14th to 16th. Enjoy 3 nights of the best in blues, soul and rock right on the beach at Owali Bay with international artists from the USA, the UK, Ireland and the Netherlands. The Nevis Blues Festival is the Caribbean's most exciting new music festival. See you there.
I can sext to my boyfriend and no one will know.
People tend to share photos, so beware of sending naked photos of yourself to anyone.
But everyone is doing it.
Not everyone is having sex. The majority of teens are not.
What my mother doesn't know won't hurt her.
Your decision to have sex will affect your life more than your parents.
I should have used the condom last night.
Use a condom every time you have sex to protect yourself.
If my friends find out that I'm a virgin, they will laugh.
True friends do not laugh about you being a virgin. Abstaining is the best way to protect yourself. You matter to your family, to your friends, to your community, to you. Remember, you matter.
Welcome back. Former resident of Nevis and industrial archaeologist David Wallinson has described the New River Estate, the last sugar plantation to cease operations on the island of Nevis, as a great site in terms of its tourism and economic potential. Last week, Wallinson led the first public archaeology dig at New River, which dates back to the 1700s. The project is an initiative of the Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, NHCS.
Now with the farming increasing here, visitors' interest in organic and fresh vegetables, you know, and that whole understanding of Nevis community, then this is a great site to be developing that. I first came here in Christmas 1984, and I came because that was our first visit to Nevis, and somebody said to me, I think it was Mr. Lupinacci at Hermitage, he said, because I told him I was interested in history, and he said, well, he said, you should go down to New River. So I got in the mini moke, you remember the mini moke, and came down here, and here we are. What I've discovered is how much interest there is now in New River, and that's probably an even better thing, you know, to find what we're finding in terms of the buildings. And what you're doing today is just bringing that word out to the public, and you know, this site is what contributes to the sense of place of Nevis. So it's really important that an event like today and the visits from the people next week, you've got to keep the momentum going, And every little bit you can do, it just moves that process along a little bit further.
The Nevis Island Administration and the NHCS plan to open a visitor center at New River to provide information about the site and sugar production on the island. Many improvements have been made to the site over the past months, including the construction of a new roof over the cane crushing equipment. Rawlinson says that it has enhanced the site in terms of aesthetics and attractiveness. The second hosting of Community Development Month promises to be as exciting as the first. That is according to Director of the Department of Community Development, Janet Maloney. On a recent edition of NTV's The Social Development Outlook, she spoke about the activities which will form part of the month-long celebration in May.
Well, we are going to have a panel discussion on Let's Talk. And we're also going to have focus on your community. What we are encouraging is for communities to look at something in the community and focus. It can be a sport, it can be an art form, it can be some historical site, but focus on something that is worthwhile. You know, that you will want the public to know something more about. We are thinking about having Gingerland Has Talent as a part of the community focus in collaboration with the Department of Community Development.
According to Maloney, her department will set aside May 20th to celebrate Community Development Day.
This way we get all community members to participate in their community or do something in their community. It can be just to whisper a prayer for your community. So we wanted to visit some seniors, you know, somebody in your community who is needy. You can give something to help them, helps a child with a homework. You can come together as a community group and have a concert and share your talent to the enlightenment of the rest of the community members. But it's a day for you to reflect on your community and to see what you can do to help in the development of your community on that day. On Community Development Day, we probably will want to introduce the staff that work at the Department of Community Development to the general public and to let you know what we are about and what is the role that each individual plays.
The department will also host a series of open days at the island's community centers.
All the community centers will have an open day for you to visit and see something about your community or do something. The excitement will be as to what the community centers will be offering, what they will come up with, because we are looking for new and innovative ways to bring out what is happening in the community and also to promote our communities.
The theme for Community Development Month will be Our Community, Our Commitment, Our Concern. And that concludes this evening's presentation of the Nevis Newscast. Thank you for viewing. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Good night.
Not against each other, only a united stand will make this situation better. We cannot forever fight for the past. If we want to prosper, we must build on the present.
Celebrating the old, showcasing the new. Culturama 42.